Hey guys, in this tutorial I would like to run a test for the mail raw method. So sometimes maybe we are sending some mails, but we want to actually check if we are sending to the specific user. So we need to somehow mock and fake this mail. The first thing I will do here, I will create a folder. I will call it job. And the second thing, I will create a new test class. Call it send email to client test. Okay, so let me zoom in. Okay, the first thing we want to do is to extend the test case. The second thing, before writing the test, I would like to explain about this kind of directory structure. As you can see here, the directory structure is very tight coupled to each other. We have app, jobs, send email to client, and we have also here test, unit, job, send email to client test. Directory structure very tight couple, and this has some pros and cons. The pros is that, whenever you will have, in future you will have, 200 file of tests, then it will be very easy to find a test. But the cons is that if, for example, you move one of the files to another directory, then you need to do it for all of the tests that you basically have in your test folder. Anyway, the first test we are trying to basically write here is the test that if the email that we are sending is sending to the specific user. So a public function test email should be sent to specific user. Let me fix this. Specific user. And here I would like to use the cdoc block. It's very helpful when you write test, so you can define that, okay, I am referring to this class, to this handle. Okay, cool. Now we have the test. Okay, so we have a test class, and then the first thing we want to do is to create a user create. Okay. The second thing is to actually call the send email to client job and pass the user to it. The third thing is to use the mail facade, and then we want to actually use the should receive. So I'm here expecting that the mail call the raw method with the content should be some text, and the second actually argument here we can't really pass a closure to it. It's not working like this, so we need to use something from PHPUnit. We can use the mockeryOn, and in mockeryOn we can somehow define a function here, and we can actually accept exactly the closure or the function that we are sending to the second argument in the raw method. So when I use mockeryOn, it means that, hey, just give me this closure here. All right, so mockeryOn closure, and if we now check the closure, I can tell you that we are accepting closure here. Okay, there's an error because I have not used the database migration. And now if I run it again, as you can see, it's past the whole closure. But why do we want to do such thing? Because if we go here, we need to somehow mock this message. So we should pass mock message to this function, and then we should assert if the mock message calling to with a specific email. So if we get back here, what we can do is to define mock message equal mockery mockery mock, sorry, mockery mock what message, mock the message class. All right, so I mock the message. Now I will say should receive to with the email, the user email. Okay, we need the user here, so I will pass the user with user email, and it should get called once I'm actually being sure that it's getting called. And then I will call the closure and pass the mock message to it, and then I will run the test again. There's a problem. Okay, as you can see here, the error is saying, hey, you have defined the mockery, you passed the mockery to the closure, but there is no from. If we go to the code, we can see that we are calling from, but there is no from in the expectation. So this is the way mockery works. If you use the mock, then you say, okay, you need to define every method that I should expect. But in this case, because I don't care about from and BCC or CC or any other method, I will define it as a spy. So spy means, hey, don't care about anything else, just spy is working like this, like I don't care about anything else, let them call what they want, but I want to mock only these two methods. So now if I run it again, okay, we need to return something from this mockeryOn, so I will return true here. As you can see, we have one test and two assertions. So now we actually use the mock message, we use the spy, and we just expect that this mock message call the two method once with the user email, and then we pass the mock message to the closure. If we go to the send email to client, and if we dd the m here, there is a, as you can see, is the mockery actually that we are passing here. So this is the way that we can pass the mock class to the closure. So this is one way to actually mock the closure using mockeryOn, but there is another way that we can use. The other way is using andReturnUsing actually, and in this case we don't need to use mockeryOn because andReturnUsing is doing the same thing as mockeryOn is doing, mockeryOn and with exactly. So the first one is the content. The first parameter is the content, and the second parameter is the actually closure. And if I dd both of them here, you can see that exactly we have the content and we have the closure. So it's very easy now. We can define it. We can define what we have defined in the previous actually way here. So we say mockery, we need to use also the user. So we pass the user, we pass the closure mock message, return true, and then as you can see we have one test, one assertion. I need to basically assert one more thing, which is the content. So assert equal, I want to assert some text with the content. So if I run the test again, as you can see we have one test, three assertions. And I hope this tutorial helps you in something, maybe. And one more thing I would like to mention here, maybe you say that, okay, why we don't use, for example, mail fake and mail Laravel mail assert send and so on. Mail assert send and mail fake and so on, it's actually, as you can see here, it's used for the mailable. So if you use the mailable, then you can say, okay, you can say mail assert sent, what is the mailable that I'm sending? Is order shipped. Okay, but we are not using any mailable here. We are using raw, or we'll use sent, for example. Then how you want to test that? We can test it like this. But I mean, this is my solution for this. Maybe you can find other solutions too. Anyway, I hope you like this test. So we actually learned two things here. We learned how to use mockeryOn, and we learned how to have a replacement for mockeryOn, which is andReturnUsing. And andReturnUsing is the same as actually is not with, is not with, and is not also mockeryOn, but it is a way that you can basically grab what the raw method is calling. So you are grabbing what is the raw method is calling, and then build your expectation based on that. I hope you like this tutorial, and I will see you in the next one.